It began at 9:02 in the morning, and it was over before the tea went cold. 38 minutes. That's all it took for an empire to erase a kingdom. Zanzibar, 1896. An island of white coral stone, spice markets, and a sultan's palace facing the Indian Ocean. A jewel dressed in silk, but a jewel that belonged quietly to London. On August 25th, Sultan Hamad bin Thuwani collapsed inside his palace and was dead within hours. No autopsy. No warning. Whispers of poison moved through Stone Town faster than the news of his death ever could. Before the Sultan's body was even cold, his cousin made his move. Khalid bin Barghash, ambitious, impatient, and hungry for a throne that was never his to take. Within hours, Khalid marched into the Beit al-Hukm, the House of Wonders, and declared himself the new Sultan of Zanzibar. No permission asked, no approval sought. He had just broken a treaty most men in that palace had never even read. A single clause buried in decades of colonial paperwork. No Sultan of Zanzibar could take the throne without London's blessing. British Consul Basil Cave sent his answer immediately. Step down or face the consequences. Khalid's reply was silence. Silence and 2,800 armed men gathering behind the palace walls. Machine guns were hauled onto the rooftop. Cannon faced the harbor. And the Sultan's own royal yacht, the Glasgow, took its position on the water, a wooden ship preparing to challenge steel. Offshore, 5 British warships had already gathered like something patient, circling, guns loaded, orders waiting. At dawn on August 27th, Admiral Harry Rawson delivered the final ultimatum. Lower the flag by 9 o'clock or the bombardment begins. Khalid refused. He believed no empire would burn a palace over a throne. He was wrong. 8:55. The clock on the British flagship ticked toward 0. Sailors stood frozen at their stations. 8:58. 2 minutes left. In the streets of Stone Town, people began to run. 9 o'clock, the ultimatum expired. For 2 full minutes, the harbor went completely silent. The kind of silence that comes right before the world breaks. Then, at 9:02, the sky opened. 5 warships fired as one. High explosive shells tore into a palace built mostly of wood. The Beit al-Hukm, a symbol of power for a generation, came apart in fire and splinters within seconds. Inside, Khalid's soldiers scrambled through smoke, firing back with rifles a century behind the navy in front of them. At 9:05, the Royal Yacht Glasgow opened fire on HMS St. George, one wooden ship, against 5 warships of steel, reckless, almost suicidal. The British answer was immediate. Within minutes, the Glasgow was sinking into the very harbor it once ruled. On land, the shelling never stopped. The palace guard's defenses folded. Shrapnel and fire took soldiers and civilians without distinction. When the guns finally fell silent, nearly 500 Zanzibaris lay dead or wounded. The British had suffered exactly one injury. A single sailor grazed in the chaos. Khalid bin Barghash never intended to die for that throne. As the palace burned around him, he slipped through a side door and vanished into the smoke. He ran, not to his soldiers, not to his people, but straight to the German consulate, begging shelter from a rival empire. By 9:40, the flag above the ruined palace came down. No treaty was signed, no formal peace declared. Just smoke and silence. The British moved fast. Within hours, they installed Hamad bin Mohammed as the new Sultan, a man who understood exactly what happened to the last one who said no. In one of history's stranger twists, the new Sultan's very first act was to formally abolish the slave trade in Zanzibar, a moral victory stapled onto an act of naked conquest. Khalid bin Barghash spent years running, hunted across East Africa, until the empire he once defied finally caught up with him. 38 minutes. Less time than it takes to watch this twice. And it ended a bloodline reshaped an island and wrote itself permanently into the record books. It was never really about a palace or a flag or even a throne. It was a warning. In the age of empire, defiance could be answered in minutes, not months. This was the Anglo-Zanzibar War, the shortest war in human history, 38 minutes. And an empire's silence louder than any cannon.